Welcome to the Develop Yourself podcast, where we teach you everything you need to land your first job as a software developer by learning to develop yourself, your skills, your network, and more. I'm Brian, your host. Hey, I hope you're enjoying this episode. Now, you know that I own an anti-boot camp with my buddy Zubin, an ex-Google software engineer. If you're interested in not just learning how to code, and you know it's going to take more than 3 months, and you're serious about making a transition into a career in software, and you want to work with people that have done it before and are currently working in senior plus levels, join me and Zubin at parsity.io/inner-circle. You can learn all about our philosophy, how we approach learning how to code and switching careers in a much different way, and how we have so much gosh dang success. If you're interested in being one of the few people that works with us this year, go and apply at parsity.io/inner-circle. And now back to the episode. Today on the Develop Yourself podcast, I have David Roberts, CTO, former recruiter, current CEO of Crushing Digital, where he helps junior developers and just developers in general find a job in the tech market, which I'm sure you're very busy. And like most people, we hear a million different things about the tech market right now. And, I own a program called Parsity where we teach people how to code and then get into the tech industry. And we're seeing, things are different. But I really want to dig into like what you're seeing, because I feel like we're probably seeing very different things. And I know you've seen the mistakes that juniors have made in the market that they're probably continuing to make, and just kind of outline some of the myths, the realities, and what people can do to stand out and actually have the best shot at getting hired 2025 and going into 2026.
Yeah, definitely. Well, firstly, thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
So, a very different market.
And what does that mean to you exactly? Because like when I say different market, I mean like it felt like it was, there's like this myth or whatever that was easy like a few years ago. and I don't know if it was easy or easier, but when you hear people say that, like when I just said it's different, like what is that? What do you think of when you think of the difference between now and then?
I see it on two different levels, really. So in the old days, I'm knocking on a bit here, right? So in my day, if you knew what this was, you got a job, was the joke I always said, right?
And keyboard, okay.
Yeah. And if I think back to the first day I started job searching back then, I think Hotmail had a job board attached to it, and I put out like I put my resume on there, and by the end of the day, I had like 4 interviews, and I was not a great developer, right? I got by.
Okay.
So that's my interpretation. But rather strangely, only an hour ago, I was on with a developer who I hired 6 years ago during my recruitment cycle, but they're now coming out of employment, and they're starting to regurgitate those words back to me like, hang on, what happened to the market? I used to just apply in these places. The words he said was, I would pay for a LinkedIn premium account for the month, get my job, and I'm gone. That doesn't happen anymore. So then now applying it to what's happening with me, I say on the course, when I was hiring, if I put out a job on a big job board, I would get between 1,000 and 3,000 applicants to every job. And most people don't really believe the numbers, but it's true. So then somebody came through and hired a developer who was on my course, and they used me as a reference for their first job. And so during that reference call, they were asking, who are you? What do you do? And I was explaining, and they kind of said, can you find more developers for us? So I said, yeah, I can help you find more developers. It's not something I do to make money. It helps the developers coming through my course, right? So they said, well, we don't need you right now because we've just pasted a job out there on LinkedIn. This is a small company in London, and they got 3,700 applicants to that job. So they came back after 2 weeks to me and said, we give up. Like, there's too many people to process. The quality's been very low. It's hard to find the good people. Mm-hmm. And so that's the market. When we say, has the market changed? 3,700. Now, I'm normally saying to people, if there are 1,000, are you the best? And most people are honest enough to say, probably not.
Yeah.
And if you do think you're the best, therapy, it's so that's where I see the market has changed, but people are still getting jobs. The market is still moving, but if you're applying in those places where you're competing with 3,700 people, the odds are there, right? It's unlikely you're going to stand out.
That's a really big one. That's a strange thing I noticed as a manager when I was trying to hire, and we got flooded with applications. In fact, I did something that maybe I'm not so proud of. I said, let's remove the word junior from the posting, because I was assuming that word actually was getting, and it worked. I said, let's remove the word junior. We got significantly less people. It was still a junior job. We definitely weren't hiring senior or even mid-level people. It was a very entry-level job. But just having that word got just flooded with so many. It was junk, too. I mean, I did a lot of interviews, and I was kind of shocked at the quality of candidates that were just not there. Like simple things like, hey, write like a for loop, honestly. And they were struggling with these incredibly basic things. I'm thinking, this is also the interesting thing with the market. I think that sometimes our competition is not maybe as high as we think as far as like the actual quality of people. But yeah, I don't know. What are people doing? Because I think the problem is we have LinkedIn, which is like a social media platform that kind of pretends to be a job platform. And you have people on it that don't really know how to navigate LinkedIn. And I'm not even sure I know how to navigate LinkedIn anymore either. If you're listening to this show, I'm making a few assumptions about you. One, you're probably a little bit above average intelligence, maybe even a little bit above average looking as well. I don't know. And two, that you're probably trying to either break into tech or maybe you already work as a professional coder. At Parsity, over the last few years, we've helped hundreds of people break into tech with a proven strategy and really amazing results. The secret to our program isn't so secret. Really small cohorts, one-on-one attention, working with people who are actually in the industry to learn what you need to do to get in the industry. We've helped everybody from ex-bootcamp grads to people who have never written a line of code to people who did the Odin project and are wondering what to do next. That's the power of being small and having customized curriculum tailored to your needs and understand where you're coming from. We'll only work with a small amount of people every year, and at the same time, we keep a very competitive price that's lower than basically every other coding bootcamp program out there. In my opinion, it's not only the best deal, but it's a superior program to anything that you've seen because we approach career change and learning to code in such a different way. If you're interested in joining, the only way to know if you're a good fit is to apply at parsity.io. And if you're on the fence, check out our testimonials, or if you just want to learn JavaScript and maybe don't want to go the full software engineering path, check out dev30.xyz. You can connect with me on LinkedIn to make sure I'm not some crazy person and see that I actually can back up what I'm saying, or you can just enjoy the rest of this episode. All good either way. And now let's get back to the episode. But what are you telling people that are like, okay, hey, I just graduated a boot camp, or hey, I'm out of work, and the traditional advice is, cool, let's update your LinkedIn, let's update your resume, and start applying for jobs on LinkedIn. Does this work anymore for people?
No. So it doesn't work because the numbers are too high. Now, if you, so for your company, for my company, if we advertise a job and we're open to hiring a junior, right? We're advocates of juniors, why not? And we put out this job and we get 1,000 applicants. Now, you and I are probably looking at each other thinking, I'm not interviewing 1,000 people. You're like, nope. How do we get rid of these people? So I'm thinking, well, okay, of the 1,000, we didn't ask for experience, but how many of them actually have experience? So maybe 500 of the 1,000 have a year. Maybe 200 have 2 years. Well, that gets rid of 800 people. Now we're down to 200. Of those 200, who's got a degree? And now that gets, and we keep applying these filters. Yep. Now, this was a junior level job at the start, but because everyone put themselves in the same bracket, the bar gets moved up. So because of the way we apply, we do it to ourselves. So what I'm saying to people is we need to fix all your profiles, LinkedIn, resume, GitHub, etc. So that if somebody does take a look at you, even for just a few seconds, they see your value. But then we need to take you away from that place where all that competition is, and get you applying more directly. We need to teach you to be your own recruiter, because recruiters don't wait for jobs to be advertised. Yep. Recruiters go and leverage a job. Wow. And so that's where level 1 is the changing of the profiles. Level 2 is getting them to see the market differently and job search differently. And then 3 is networking, and that's when it really starts to come good for the next jobs, and your network will start to pay dividends, so that you won't then have to start applying later on. You'll build this network, and it will work for you in the end.
Yeah, that's a lot of what we do at Parsity now around job searching in general is not really using LinkedIn beyond trying to make connections to people in your network, and kind of do like almost like a breadth first search of your personal network. Because oftentimes you don't know who you're connected to that's going to help you slide in through a back door somewhere, or might know of an opportunity that's not even listed. We've had quite a few people get jobs that weren't even listed on LinkedIn. You know, they've gone through their old employers or their old schools, or people that they never would have thought that actually have an insight to something. That's one way we've seen things work. And I noticed this. A lot of junior developers, people I meet on LinkedIn, they always say, "Here's my resume. Tell me what's wrong with my resume." And I'm thinking, does that even matter anymore? I'll be honest. I feel like I haven't really used my resume. It's more of a formality. But that's me. I'm kind of senior plus level, and I really don't know if your resume matters anymore. What is your take on resumes in general right now?
I think resumes, LinkedIn, these things matter depending on the medium in which you are applying. And if you're applying on, the big job boards, LinkedIn profile probably wins out most of the time. Resumes, I find, can be almost the most powerful thing in the way I want people to apply. If I teach them how to be their own recruiter. But I think I see resumes differently to most people. People show me, everyone talks about the Harvard resume. I've never seen a more boring document in my life, right? So for me, a resume is like a fast food flyer. It's got to make me hungry and make me call the number, make me complete the transaction, right? And that's what I see your resume as, is it's there to communicate value quickly so that people get into an interview situation, so that you actually get your chance to sell. And how you actually make someone hungry from your resume is different based off the level of your experience and what sort of role you're trying to get. Because at the start, it's all about tech, how are you applying yourself and proactivity. But then once you get into those senior roles, I'm not just giving you a job. I'm entrusting my business. I'm entrusting my product and my client base and my reputation into you. And so I'm not going to give you an interview unless I trust that you could be that person to look after what's most valuable to me.
Now, what are some of the mistakes? Like, what are some glaring things people should just not be doing on resumes? And what are some things people absolutely should be doing on their resume nowadays?
You cut out in the second part of that. What was the second part of that bit then?
What should people be doing with the resume? So, what should they not be doing for sure, and what are some things people should be doing when it comes to resumes, especially junior developers?
Especially juniors. So, first things first is your resume should be showing direction, as in what job do you want? So I always think about, if we take the fields from LinkedIn and apply it to your resume, so on LinkedIn you'd get headline and about section, and they look forward to the job you want. So if you're junior trying to break into tech, there's no point in writing in your headline that you're a truck driver, because you're trying to be found as a software developer. So you're going to have to give it direction to where you want to go. What tech do you want to use? And be very focused. And then we've got to showcase in the rest of it how you are making this happen. So it becomes about your proactivity. So the main thing I would say is I don't want to have to read your bullet points straight off the bat. I want to be able to blur my eyes, scan down, and just get a feel for you in 10 seconds. I say 10 seconds, but someone was saying on social media the other day, people don't look at your resume longer than 6 seconds. So I don't think it's far off that. The mistakes, I think, is that people think people read it. You know, I often say that story of, have you ever been in an interview when it feels like somebody is reading your resume for the first time?
Yes.
And most people say yes. And I say, well, the reason for the reason for that is because it is the first time they're reading it. Someone like me, maybe you, has looked at it for that 6 seconds and gone, oh, this looks good, off a quick scan, invite them to an interview, knowing I'm going to read it later. Then we don't read it, and I get you to walk me through it in the interview because I just didn't read it. But the important point of that conversation is I did make a decision about whether you were worthy of more time based off the scan. And that's why that scan read, that 6 second read, that feeling I get has to be immediate, and it has to be powerful in order for me to commit my time to sitting there and listening to you. Because if I don't think you're worthy of my time, why would I spend half an hour listening to how you like to solve problems and then giving you constructive feedback and pretending I like you? It doesn't happen. So it's got to be powerful in its communication.
Man, that is funny because you described the situation I've been in, and I was kind of always thinking, why the hell am I here? But that really like enlightens, it illuminates that experience that I'm sure all of us had. Now on to, so outside of resumes, here's the things I always see junior developers maybe over-index on, but I'm sure you're seeing patterns, and I just want to know your perspective as well. Portfolio projects. I'm a big portfolio project guy, not because I think it's like the key to employment or the path to employment, which I know it can be, but mostly because it's an important tool to use to like just update and enhance your skills as a developer. I just see portfolio projects or just projects as an important thing to do, to have something you're doing on the side. But a lot of people I see think that project is going to be like the thing that's going to get them hired. And I think I might know your take on this already, but yeah, what do you see as the role of projects when it comes to getting hired? Are they important? Should people not do them? You know, what's a good path they should take on that?
For juniors in particular, you have to do projects. But that line that you said, like, what's the one project? You know, everyone asks me that, what's the one project I can build? What's the one template I can use for my resume? What's the one? It always reminds me, what's the one chat up line I can use to get girls? Right? It's just there's no. It doesn't work that way. Life's not like that, right? So I always say there's a difference here between becoming a better developer and getting a job. So to rewind on it a little bit, if lots of senior developers disagree with my teachings, I guess, on how to get a job, and they say, no, who cares about React or Angular or Vue or whatever, things.
I guess, sure.
They should just learn JavaScript inside and out. Now, as a developer, it's far better to be a better JavaScript developer than it is to be, there's too many React developers that don't know JavaScript well enough, if you ask me.
It's wild, yeah.
Now, so it's better as a developer to be a better JavaScript developer, but you're not going to get a job.
No one's hiring for that layer anymore, really. No one's, you're not getting, I used to get quizzed on that stuff, and now I just really haven't had that experience for a while.
Exactly. So I'm telling people no, and lots of seniors will go, just put JavaScript, just put this, TypeScript. And I'm like, you could remember the layers here. A recruiter's searching. They don't know that it's all just JavaScript, and they don't understand all these things. So you've got to write for the layers. You've got to write for the audience, and that audience is lots of different people. There's a recruiter, and then there's a technical person and a more technical, and a CTO. You've got to write for all of those people. And if you don't, you're going to get filtered out at the top layer. Now, then people get a job and they go, what do I do now? Because they're worried they've actually got the job. I'm like, now go and learn JavaScript.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, just all in. So you need both. But then when it comes to your original question about the portfolio website, well, people just want to put up thumbnails, of the projects they've done. Look, here's my weather app. Here's my Netflix clone. Here's my this. I'm teasing, but here's all those things.
Pretty representative, yeah.
I don't need your weather app. I've got a weather app on my phone. I don't need this. But what are they examples of? They're examples of you can make a front end in React. They're examples of you can use an API, consume an API. You can do authentication. It's the tech. So if the reason for your portfolio is to have that example on your website, which says, here's an example of me using React and Redux and TypeScript and Jest and React Testing Library and it's the tech. And that's the same for your GitHub. It's the same for everything else. It's like, these are examples of you being able to use the things that you're selling back on your resume or back on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, I always say the banner image, the headline, the about section, these are your claims. You're saying, I can do this. I'll prove it to you. Just keep reading, right? But then everything else has to back up the claims. Otherwise, it's empty claims. But then whenever I arrive at another person's portfolio website, it's like, I'm David Roberts, and then the text deletes itself. And I'm a developer, and the text deletes itself. Like, hang on, where's the evidence of you living and breathing React and TypeScript and stuff?
Oh, so man. We've all seen this portfolio. It's kind of funny because now we've seen a million examples of like the weather app, the typing text in the portfolio, and all these things. How important is it to like make it like super unique, or is that even important? Or is it more important to just show evidence that hey, this is a template, whatever. But here's some actual examples of you doing the thing.
I think it depends on what you're trying to do with it. If you want to be known as this, developer or front-end developer who makes snappy, cool things, then I'd say you're going to have to start getting a little bit creative. But most people, it's just a template presentation of here's some works that I've done. Yeah. One thing I do say is, if you're putting yourself out there as a front-end developer and you make a portfolio that sucks, I think it's going to work against you.
Oh, yeah.
So
sure.
I think you'd be far better to not have one. I don't think a portfolio's required. I think you can get away without it. But if you make one, you've got to make it look good. And you've got to get rid of like the classic, gotchas like typos and things. You've got to make sure that, because people are entrusting their brand essentially to you on some level. And it's like, so it can work against you. And that's sometimes hard to tell developers, like, I'd get rid of that. Like, don't do that.
Putting it in mobile view and things just break apart immediately. I'm like, oh, rough, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen patterns like I have over the years from working with people. And you've probably noticed that there's like certain people, like this person made it. And maybe you've been surprised by certain people that make it or don't make it. Are there patterns you've noticed in the last like 12 months among the people that you've worked with that are indicators that they're going to quote unquote make it?
Yeah.
Okay. What are those?
I don't know if we talked about this last time we spoke. Maybe we did. Or not. You can tell me.
Sure.
Back in December last year, so I take people on in cohorts and I work with them for a certain amount of time. So the course starts the first Monday of every month. So it was my November cohort, and then I'm teaching them we do LinkedIn, GitHub resumes, etc. All the profile stuff in the first month, because then we're into networking and job search and all that stuff.
Yep.
So we're in December, and we're should be starting like the job search stuff, and everyone's a little bit lackluster. Everyone's down in tools. It's holiday time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm saying, look, now's the time, people, and this is early December, and there was a huge pushback from that cohort saying it's holidays, right? No one gets hired in December. What's the point? It's like everyone thinks the same thing about August. And I could see 3 people on my course, and I named them. I said, these 3 people will not be here long. They'll get jobs and they'll be gone. And then we got to like mid-January, and I said, one of those people is gone. And they were the last, by the way.
Jeez.
And everyone's in shock. And one of those people got 7 interviews in December. So when everyone else was doing nothing, they got 7 interviews and got 3 job offers, and they were gone. Now, I named them. So I saw something.
Yeah, right.
And these people will openly tell you they weren't the best developers in the group. It was sheer tenacity, proactivity. And I think if you can bottle that up and present it in the right way, people will invest in that. So on the course, I'm often saying, let's pretend you're a dance teacher and you're going to pick one of the kids, one of the students for extra, help, extra tuition. And 9 of the children are over here picking their noses, misbehaving, doing usual stuff. And then one child is desperately trying to pirouette over here in the corner. They're getting it badly wrong, but they're trying. Who do you pick?
Right.
You're always going to go for that proactivity.
Yeah.
Now, how can we make you seem proactive in everything you present, from your LinkedIn profile to your resume to GitHub? Everything needs to scream, I'm doing this. Now, if I meet another developer and go, hey, okay, you want to be a React developer, or you want to get the tech lead role, or you want to do this, how are you making it happen? And everyone goes, I don't know, if you pay me, I'll work hard. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to quite cut it. Not when you're competing with 3,700 people.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we've got to present that, and that's why I call it like a fast food flyer. We've got to present not just skills but proactivity.
I love that, and for what it's worth, I've been hired. I think around half the jobs I've had, if you look at my LinkedIn history, they've been around December when I got hired. I remember the first job I got hired for, I started on my birthday. It was like amazing. I felt like it was a gift or something from the universe. I'm like, what a great way to start. I got the job I wanted on my birthday, and I was starting. It was like I'll never forget that day. It was amazing. And I got hired a few more times in December. Yeah.
So my theory on this, and it's the same with August, is normally the development team and tech leadership and everyone like that is they're working. We're in sprints. We've got deadlines. We've got deliveries and all that kind of stuff. We don't tend to do all these things for August and for December because we can't guarantee who's going to be around and what's happening, and it's holiday season. So everything kind of slows down. But now you're thinking about, what does the next year look like?
Right,
what does the next quarter look like? What does do I need more? What have we got? More contracts being signed? Are we? Have we got a team that can handle that work? They're thinking big picture, and they think that big picture in the summer as well. They think that in the August season. So when everybody else slows down, you speed up.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And it's funny, I'm pretty naive, or I was much more naive. I didn't even know about, cycles of hiring or anything like that. I'm like, well, I'm just applying because that's just what it is. I'm just going to be applying.
Yeah.
If it's Christmas Day, I mean, somebody might be open. I don't know. You know what I mean? So this leads me to now tech skills that you're seeing as a pattern, because I personally believe that people over-focus on like some magical unlock of tech skills. And I meet people a lot. They're on this hamster wheel. They're like, I need to now learn, Java, because one job said Java. Oh, I need to learn Python now because I've seen that this is the hot new language. And I'm like, you might not be wrong, but you're almost certainly not right? Because if you keep doing this, you're just going to be a Swiss Army knife developer. But then I also know that you can't just learn anything, right? Like you can't just learn C# and you're like on maybe the West Coast in the Bay Area and expect that you're going to be flooded with job interviews if you don't know React. And you say, well, I know C# and Python. That probably won't work out. But is there anything that you see as like a massive technology trend, especially when it comes to AI, maybe that you're seeing that, this is maybe a skill people should really be investing in now that may help them get hired or not? I mean,
honestly, no, okay. I don't. But, when someone comes to me and says, I see it's all about this technology or that technology right now, I can usually make a pretty good prediction about where they're applying for jobs. In this market as well, who's got the money and the resources to filter 3,700 applicants? You need a company that's got a HR department. Yep. They've got to have enough people to handle those people, give them feedback, processing. It's a headache. Now, a company that's got a HR department that big is big corporate world, and they're going to use C#. They're going to use Java. They're going to banks and places like that. So you're applying on, that means big job boards, and that's what you see. You see these trends. I still see the waves that I used to see in recruitment. Like, you won't hear about Ruby for a long time, and then all of a sudden it's Ruby.
Yeah,
I haven't heard about React Native for a long time. Then I had a flood of that coming through, and it comes in waves. The one thing I will say is everyone's so nervous at that junior level to go, what should I learn? And I think it doesn't really matter. I still think there's value in, still think there's value in Java and strongly typed languages and good fundamentals. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. And what I'm seeing, certainly at that junior level, is they don't hire for your skills. They hire for your proactivity, which is what you were talking about before. So it doesn't matter what it is. Go all in on it. Because they won't care that, you went all in on the wrong thing. They just go, I love that. Let's apply that to something else. So I've had React developers getting .NET roles. I've had, every different combination you can imagine has happened. And so I don't put that much weight on it. I put weight on, show me you doing it. Show me you living and breathing it.
That was my personal experience. And that's the experience we see people at Parsity. We teach kind of your traditional, or we did at least teach your traditional, like JavaScript, TypeScript, Next.js, React, Stack, Mern Stack, the thing that everybody likes to make fun of, that's hired a ton of people. And many people have gone on to roles with Python. One guy went into like Web3. People have gone into data analyst roles. It's like there's no one size fits all. There's certainly, most people have gone into more traditional full stack roles, but a lot of people have gone to things we'd never taught them directly. I went into a C#.NET role after learning JavaScript and writing, and I thought I wanted to be just a front-end developer, I wanted to be like an email developer. I was like, anything to get my foot in the door, just HTML and CSS, like, I love making pretty sites, and JavaScript it's okay. And then I ended up in a job that didn't require any of those things. But that was kind of the cool thing. I mean, and you're right, they hired me for like my aptitude, I can only assume, to do well. And it ended up kind of being a good bet. They got me for a very cheap price. I stayed there for a couple of years, and I'm sure they made their return on investment back. I hope they did.
They're still waiting on that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe I have to go back and really work that off for them. Prediction time before I let you go here. What do you think the job market will look like in the next 12 months?
So I was doom and gloom a few months back.
Okay. Fair enough.
And I think I've come, because I was really optimistic, and then I got into the doom and gloom, and I think I've come full circle now. I've come back. I think we're going to see a lot more jobs coming back. I think we're going to see much smaller development teams and a lot more startups.
Yep.
So, I've had a billion ideas in my life, for things I wanted to build.
Yep.
But the time taken to build them, and then, I was a back-end developer in the early days, and you go, well, I needed to hire a front-end developer to help me out, right? Or if you're an entrepreneur and you want to build this, you're going to need a couple of full-stack developers, or you're going to need a front-end and a back-end. You're going to need a variety of skills. Now, you start going, well, each person's going to want their salary, 80, 100K, what's it going to be? And then you need a couple of them, and you go, that's a big investment, right, to just get going. Whereas today, you can get going incredibly cheaply by comparison.
Yeah.
Right? You still need a person.
For sure.
But you can do proof of concept. So I think I think this is an exciting time for the startup scene, in which case you can actually get products out the door much faster, iterate on them, test things out in the market. So I think it's going to, you are going to need to know AI, but you're going to also need to code, because it's going to be about using AI to test the idea, test that, and then building it and actually going deeper. So I think tech jobs are going to come back. I think it's going to take time. And the thing I'm saying is, everyone's been saying to me now for at least 2 years, oh no, just wait for the economy to pick up. I'm like, lots and lots of people are still getting jobs consistently. I wouldn't offer a money back guarantee if they weren't consistently getting jobs.
That's right, yeah.
So it consistently happens. But all those people who were procrastinating, if you ask me, are still there procrastinating, still waiting for the market to improve.
Still waiting for the thing, yeah, exactly.
So I think that the opportunities are there, and the opportunities for me, because I've always liked the startup scene. I like that.
Me too. Yeah.
Having a direct impact, right? Yeah. So I think this is going to be a really exciting time if you get moving.
I feel you. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I know my vision. I feel like my experience is so warped. I have like 11 years experience now, which I still feel like is not even that much. Like, because I feel like, there's people with 20, 30 years experience. I feel like I'm still learning a lot all the time. But I'm in the startup world, and I'm getting, I guess you could say, I'm getting flooded with requests. A little humble brag here, but I'm getting flooded with lots of requests, and I see all the startups that are all using AI in the city, and they're desperate for talent right now. It feels like, and a lot of them are actually implementing more in-office work, which actually makes the pool of candidates smaller out here. So I'm actually experiencing this, the positive effect of this, and I do hear people and I've talked to people that are like, well, I'm waiting for the market. I'm like, well, how's that going to work out, do you think? Like, how would that possibly work out for you? If you wait till the market or the headlines tell you that the market is back, I think you're going to be waited way too long. You're going to miss an incredible opportunity that a lot of people are out on the sidelines waiting for.
But that's exactly the same way I look at, when people are applying for jobs on job boards. If it's on the job board, it's too late. If you wait for the market to pick up, it's too late.
Too late. Yeah.
It's like now is the time to learn how to leverage this, because you don't want to be one of those people that's waking up and realizing you missed the boat.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, lots of senior developers I'm seeing are coming out of their jobs now, realizing the market's changed and how they present themselves has changed, and they've got to go and learn that skill. This is about being proactive and getting stuff done now so that you're in the boat and going. But yeah, it's the same problem.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you kind of have that same take as well. By the way, big plug for David. I talked to a ton of people, and a lot of them aren't the right fit for Parsity, because we're mostly taking people that are like at the very beginning stages. And when they ask me, who should I call or who should I talk to? I'm trying to get a job. Once I determine that they actually don't need like the technical foundation, that they're in the job portion, I say there's only one guy you should talk to. It's David. And I say, just go to David Roberts. You're one of those guys that I trust. You're ethical, and I've sent people to you, and I've had nothing but good feedback from all the people that I've sent to you. So,
thank you.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
really appreciate it.
And you can send me that box of donuts after we end the show today, and that $5 in that box of donuts. No sweat.
That's going to be a long delivery from here.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I'm a patient guy. Before I let you go, let me just get some quick hot takes. There's some quick fire hot takes for you. Open to work banners.
No.
Okay.
I don't think they harm, but I don't think they help.
Okay. Yeah. I've never used them. I don't like them personally, but I was just curious what you think. LinkedIn Easy Apply. Waste of time or useful?
A waste of time. Okay. Waste of time. It's the 3,700 number. It's if you can stand out. Now, if we can change your profile, I think you will get more attention, but still the odds are stacked against you. So I don't say to people on my course not to do it, but I don't want that to be your only avenue, because it's highly unlikely that's going to be the thing that leads to fruition.
Yeah, 100% on that one for sure. ATS optimized resumes. Is this the thing? Or is this worth the effort? Okay.
No. So I've worked with many off-the-shelf ATS systems. We've built them for in places where I've worked, so I've sort of had a hand in those things. I don't know if I've talked about this to you before, but it always reminds me of the early days of Google and them saying, like, people used to do the keyword stuffing to get up the search engine
SEO,
rankings,
yeah, right?
And SEO, and then there was like, Google used to say to you, look, stop playing games to try and game the system, stop doing this. And then they did releases that were like Penguin and Panda, I think it was. This is a long time ago. And all of a sudden, people who were on page 1 just dropped to like page 20, and it changed overnight. Oof. Now, I think people doing all these things for an ATS. Honestly, the main problem when you're trying to hire, when you use an ATS, is you get lots of people in, but what they put in their resume sucks.
Yeah.
So it's not about making it the right format and that sort of stuff. It's about getting the right value so that someone sees that sort of thing. So I don't like the ATS, and that goes hand in hand with my other one, which I don't agree with, and I don't like the single page resume.
See, obviously multi-page resume. I have a multi-page resume now because I can't really stuff it all on one page.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. Yeah.
But I think the single page resume seems to, when I looked into this a long time ago, it came from like two different reasons. One is like, what if someone loses page 2 or 3 or whatever it is?
I mean, like physical copies back in the days when you
who's
exactly.
printing this?
Yeah, no
2025. Like,
it's ridiculous.
So then the idea was more about making sure every element, every line was worthy. So it's kind of like, I normally joke saying, it's like, get all your clothes out that you're going to take on holiday, and then you half it and half it again, unless you're my wife, is the joke that I say, right? But the idea was not to say it has to be one page. The idea was to make sure, don't have junk.
Yeah.
Just sweat every line. Is this progressing the story of me as this developer that I'm selling? And it's like, I don't think anyone ever said, it has to be one page. I don't think I've ever seen anyone read a resume and go, oh, this person looks amazing. No, they went 2 pages.
2 pages.
No.
I'm not going that far. Yeah, right.
So the other thing I did with some of the people that we both know, I took their resumes, people who look very similar on paper, and then you ask ChatGPT or whatever and say, who's best? Why? And then say, well, actually, I prefer this quality and this, and why? Who does it pick? And then you're going back to both people, going, well, if you're all using AI in your daily work, do you really think the recruiters are not?
Oh my God!
In which case, they're going to be asking them, and it's going, well, it's telling you that your project section sucks, and it's telling you your experience section sucks, and you need to work on those bits. But the interesting thing is, the more information you gave it, the better it was at making
the decision,
an informed decision about that. So I kind of think of it like, I don't read the Amazon reviews anymore. You just read the AI summary of the reviews.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's like, they're not going to read your resume. They're going to read the AI summary of the resume, in which case, who cares how long it is? Just get as much value so that they can make a better decision and give a better summary, and then you stand down.
That's a really smart one. I gotta do this on myself. That's too good. It's a great way to end, by the way. Thanks again for showing up and giving me all sorts of game and the listeners and people that are watching this. Where can people find you online? I'm going to have links in the show notes as well for the free course that you have now. But where else can people find you online?
So I'm at Crushing Digital on Instagram and TikTok and my YouTube. So the website's crushing.digital, and you can get all the links from there. I put the whole course is available for free on my website. It's also available on YouTube, but most of the time I'm doing Instagram reels, that sort of thing, and I just try to help as many people as I can put out better content, some fun things during the day, just to keep people interested and start to see this jobs market a little bit differently.
They are funny, and I know they ruffle people's feathers. I'm sure you get a lot of haters from your reels. Please check out David's reels. I find them hilarious. It's like a lot of times like, I wish I had the guts to say that,
I get a lot of abuse. Yeah.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do.
The thing is, I'm going against the grain, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. People rather get like the feel-good advice and stuff like that, and you kind of just lay it out the way I think a lot of us look at it. Thanks again, David. Really appreciate you being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me on. It's great to see you again. It's been too long.
Seriously.
And,
for real.
Yeah. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I'll speak to you soon.
That'll do it for today's episode of the Develop Yourself podcast. If you're serious about switching careers and becoming a software developer and building complex software and want to work directly with me and my team, go to Parsity.io. And if you want more information, feel free to schedule a chat by just clicking the link in the show notes. See you next week.